Seriously, why? Why? How is that so wrong? How are bronies so wrong? How are bronies? Oh my god. I'm fucking pissed off. Why? How's that bad? I don't know. God. Bronies aren't bad. They're not gay. They're not anything. Fuck that.
Don't you laugh at it!
That's right. We're looking at My Little Pony, the movie, of all things. There's not enough heroin on Earth to prepare me for what I'm about to witness. So you probably remember me mentioning back that this movie wasn't really that noteworthy from my Emoji movie video, and I guess that might have been a poor choice of what I decided to label as unnoteworthy, clearly since I decided to not only watch this movie, but pay $17 for the DVD copy, and I'm not really ready to watch the rest of the shit that's next up in my lineup. In fact, leave some requests in the comment section so I don't have to watch those. Please. I'm sure you all know what this is. I don't really have to explain what the fuck My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is, since it's been practically inescapable. Bronies are still a thing, the My Little Pony analysts are still a thing, and I personally can't believe that myself, even back when I watched the show. Yep, you heard me right. I bet it's not at all shocking that I'm a former brony. I watched the show somewhere in 2011, I want to say, back when I was about 15 years old, and I found it to be pretty decent for a children's show. I watched it around, I want to say until the third season, and then the first Equestria Girls movie, then basically just got over it. I mean, I never actually knew about bronies when I first started watching the show. I just considered it to be the most tolerable thing that my younger sister watched, so I always convinced her to watch it. Then I wouldn't have to sit through this shit. And I guess over time I just started to admire it. It wasn't until I made a friend in my sophomore year of high school that she introduced me to the brony fandom. Gotta say, discovering that fandom was one of the worst possible things I could ever do. Seeing a bunch of grown adults being so malicious and spiteful towards one another, all because their opinions on a show about love, respect, earnesty, and friendship differed from one another. That was probably what instantly turned me away from continuing to watch it, in addition to a couple of high school friends that were just as malicious and annoying. I saw the error of my ways and flushed my stash, and I've been on the road to recovery ever since. Though I guess it's not a full recovery since I paid money for this. People saw me buy this in public. I cannot understate that enough. The amount of embarrassment that I, a single 23-year-old male purchasing a My Little Pony movie in a busy Fred Meyer currently have is unfucking measurable. Now, I know a lot of bronies are probably watching this and don't fall under the description I just gave a moment ago. And I get that. I probably wasn't referring to you to begin with. I mean, plenty of YouTubers I like now or used to like are bronies. Nothing against the people who like the show at all. I just find the irony in a bunch of Friendship is Magic fans being so unfriendly to be really funny and really ironic. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be talking about the movie, my bad. Yeah, I didn't like it. I guess in this film's defense, it's not really made for me in mind, which is one thing I try to remember when watching films like this, the fact that I'm not part of the target market. Then again, the show also isn't geared toward my age demographic, yet teenagers and adults latched onto it, though it seemed like bronies liked this movie just fine, and more power to them. So none of what I'm about to say is a critical analysis on why this movie is an awful piece of media, since, well, that's kind of petty since this movie isn't made to appeal to me. But it did give me quite a headache. It was something I had planned on covering, and it was really rough to sit through, so I just kinda want to vent. Even though it's my own fault for watching this shit. Oh my god. So, let's start with the story. Well, just like the show, it stars our main protagonists. Twilight Sparkle, Spike, Applejacks, Rainbow Smash, Honky Dory, Charity, and Scuzzlebud. They're preparing for a friendship festival when suddenly Canterlot is attacked by an army of satyr things, led by the Storm King, and the invasion overseen by a unicorn named Tempest Shadow. They trap the main three princesses, though are unable to trap Twilight Twilight Sparkle, though before Celestia gets captured, she tells Twilight to go find the Queen of the Hippos, who actually turn out to be hippogriffs, that are disguised as water horses. The ponies journey through quite a few places, like a downtrodden city of scroungers and shady merchants, in order to find the queen that Celestia told them to seek out. They meet a cat, they meet some bird pirates, and then meet the water horses and have fun making friends with them. They briefly get turned into water horses and have a jolly old good time playing and having fun, though behind the scenes, Twilight is trying to seal the orb that turns the ponies into water horses, because I think she wants to use this to turn the other ponies at home into water horses in order to flee from the Storm King. She gets caught, and then they all get kicked out. The ponies have a fight. Twilight tells them she would rather have better friends or something like that. They're all upset, they split up, Twilight gets captured by Tempest, and then the Storm King takes the magic from all 4 of the princesses. The Storm King originally promised that when he got all of the powers of the princesses that he would fix Tempest's broken horn, but he lied about that, so she switches sides and the other ponies fight the villains. And when the Storm King tries to trap Twilight, then Tempest straight up murders him. And then the movie ends with a song from Sia, but that's the point when I shut off the movie, because I didn't want to sit through any more of it. If I could find one word to describe this film, I'd go with annoying. So many elements of the film are extremely hard to tolerate. I think the only comedy-centric character that really didn't get on my nerves was the Storm King, who was played brilliantly by Liev Schreiber. Some of the main characters were okay, though I felt like some of them didn't quite do much throughout the film. Applejacks and Charity just kind of said a few things, and I don't really remember much of what they did throughout the rest of the film, though. Oh, and then there's Honky Dory. She's pretty much the visual and audio equivalent of an ice pick to the skull. I'm not really sure how I was ever able to tolerate her in the show, but here she was definitely at her worst, and that was the primary reason I even had a headache to begin with. There was this hedgehog thing that was also pretty annoying. The whole joke was that he's fat, he eats a lot, and he doesn't know when to stop talking. In fact, no one really acknowledged him or anything he said throughout the film, so him being in the movie wasn't really that needed. There was this hippogriff character that was pretty annoying too, about on par with Pinkie Pie, but she did get better towards the end of the film. Plus, I didn't have to tolerate her from start to finish, so that certainly helped. One thing that kind of surprised me is how stupid certain characters just happen to be. I mean, in Rainbow Smash and Honky Dory's defense, the stuff they did was stupid just because even in the show, they were kind of impulsive and just prone to being stupid. But then Twilight Sparkle decided to try to steal this orb that turns ponies into water ponies because the queen of the water ponies did not want to help Twilight. I mean, I get that Twilight hasn't always made smart decisions, and it was pretty clear that the queen wouldn't bother to help with the affairs of the other ponies, but I didn't expect her to just straight up be a thief. I mean, you'd think she'd be a bit wiser after 5 to 6 seasons of the show and being a princess of friendship. And then this leads to the scene where she basically insults her friends and then they're all sad. This scene was a little harsh for these characters, I think. I mean, Twilight basically degraded them akin to the way Boss Baby did their emotional fight scene, where the main characters just kind of say something unbelievably harsh, and then there's just a brief moment of heartbreak before they eventually make up. I don't know, this just felt very unnatural and out of character for the princess of friendship. There were some songs. The movie starts out with a cover of They've Got the Beat. And that certainly didn't help. Then there's a song called We Got This, which is very reminiscent of something you'd find in the show. I didn't enjoy it, but it was pretty fitting. There was a song sung by the Cat, played by Taye Diggs, and I liked it just fine. There was a song on the pirate ship that I enjoyed. I liked all the drum beats that they used throughout. I also enjoyed Zoe Saldana's singing voice. It's probably the best song in the film, in my opinion. There was a song in the Water Horse Palace that was, again, pretty fitting for this type of movie, but not something I particularly liked. Tempest gets a song, and I like that one too, if only for the fact that Emily Blunt's singing voice is phenomenal. I don't know if there were any songs after that, shy of the one performed by Sia at the very end, though again, I turned off the film before she even sung the first line, so I can't really be arsed to mention it. I like Sia just fine. She can be a little much for me in some of her songs, but I think she's good. I just don't give a shit about her being in this movie, so fuck it. As far as animation goes, the quality of the film is really nice. It's consistently beautiful, and the lighting really does stand out actually. actually. It's a beautiful looking film, as I expected it to be. There was a lot of effort put into the visuals, and it shows. So I liked the visual presentation a lot. There were a few decent songs, some funny moments, and a pretty funny villain. But aside from that, this film was not fun to watch. I was expecting a lot better, honestly. I mean, as far as My Little Pony films go, this is probably the best one out there. I mean, I barely tolerated watching it, but as I said before, this isn't a heavy-handed serious critique. I just watched a film and I'm giving my thoughts on it, so take this with a grain of salt. Little girls, bronies, and Bega sisters will probably like it just fine. Hell, I'm sure they did. So if you like this movie, then that's great. I just don't see a whole lot of other people enjoying it. For anyone who saw my video on the Emoji movie, this may seem a little odd since I didn't nearly dislike that film on the same level as this one, even though my feelings on both of these films are nearly identical. They're both very gorgeous films with annoying humor and annoying characters. But with the Emoji movie, I knew I wouldn't be in for a noteworthy film, but I also knew it wasn't going to suck. I didn't expect anything from it because I knew what I'd be in for, so I wasn't disappointed. I honestly expected more from something like this film, and that's just disappointing. If I'd give it another compliment, it's definitely up there as being one of the best looking animated films of 2017 next to a couple others, but I just don't know what else to say. This is definitely not one of the worst animated movies I've seen from last year, but I was still not pleased by it.